So I'm here with Maria Mavroudi at Boğaziçi University in Istanbul. Maria came yesterday to give an inaugural lecture to a new Byzantine centre here that's opening up at Boğaziçi. And I just wanted to really ask Maria, because I'm a classicist and most of our audience are going to be classicists, just to get a glimpse of the Byzantine world, as it were. And you were, in yesterday's talk, you, I think, raised very nicely some of the major issues relating to the study of Byzantine. I was wondering if you could try to sum that up for us today.
I tried to talk about the study of Byzantium in connection with the study of the Ottoman Empire. Well, one of the big issues in the study of Byzantium, since we're talking to classicists, is that Byzantine studies started historically as a big warehouse from which to retrieve Greek antiquity intact as much as possible. And for this reason, there has been a lot of emphasis placed on the classical tradition in Byzantium, and the judgment that Byzantine civilization generally received is that it repeats what has been done in Greek antiquity, at best with accuracy, but most of the time in gradually deteriorating ways.
This is a very familiar narrative with us too.
Yes.
My colleagues who work on Roman history and culture and literature tend to have the same complaints. Actually, how we've the
it's a degradation of
yes,
the
exactly.
Yes.
The Hellenists
yes.
took about.
I remember that about the Roman in my high school, approach to Roman history.
Yeah.
That for art in particular.
Yes, that's
that
right.
It's a degraded Roman copies
Yeah.
of the really good Greek stuff.
Yes.
And so this has been a problem for Byzantine studies, and it has impeded the proper understanding of Byzantine civilization in its own right. And part of it is, Gibbon has something to do with it as well, this idea of the decline and fall of the Roman Empire. And it's
a seductive narrative.
Yes, and in beautiful English, and with extremely competent handling of the primary sources. And but this idea persists in scholars don't believe in it anymore, but in the public perception it persists. So you get a Byzantine civilization that lasts for more than 1,000 years in a constant state of decline.
Yes.
And so I try to say that the modern approach to Ottoman civilization has some of the same problems, although it's a shorter period of time. But again, it's something that is viewed as, especially toward the end, it starts off well, but then becomes a sick man of Europe. And this is the reason why both civilizations are viewed as having ultimately failed. Because with the
Byzantium and the Ottoman.
Yes. With Byzantium you end up with 1453. If they were any good, they should have prevented. And with the Ottomans you end up with a dismemberment of the empire, and that's also decline.
They're very teleological narratives, because there's an end point.
Yes,
then you
exactly.
can say, how did you get to the end?
Exactly.
There's obviously must be something internal to the system to bring it down. Again, that reminds me very much of the history of Rome and how people have studied Rome with the same idea of the as you say, Gibbon, Wise and Ford.
So and of course all of this is completely dependent on what this narrative serves in order for the other teleological narrative to emerge, namely, how do we come up with Europe that dominates the world toward the late 19th and early 20th century? Because this is the genealogy of these ideas, that's why it's really...
Everything is leading to the West and Europe.
There is this narrative that where presumably Western civilization started. It has its roots in the ancient Near East, but it really, and that's where the sciences were born. But they really became Western sciences once they were received by the Greeks, and the Greeks added philosophy, the theoretical apparatus, to the practical, and then this was received by the Romans and flourished in the Greek world until at most the 6th century, the age of Justinian, and then dies out in the Greek-speaking world, and of course in the Latin West. It's now the beginning of the Middle Ages. It is the Dark Age. And but thank God, philosophy and the sciences were picked up by the Arabs after the Muslim conquests of the 7th century, and were transferred into Arabic through the Greek into Arabic translation movement in the 9th century. And then the Arabs appropriated that. They added some things of their own that were quite nice. And then they entered a state of decline in the 12th century, but this is exactly when the West begins to wake up. And at the beginning, they translate things through Arabic, so originals, Greek originals, through Arabic, come into Latin in the 12th century through an Arabic to Latin translation movement. And this is a first Renaissance. And then you get the real Renaissance in the 15th century, when Europe is finally able to recover the Greek classics in the original, as the Byzantine intellectuals who are fleeing Byzantium are seeking refuge in Italy, etc., etc. So Byzantium in itself, and the idea is that it is Byzantine manuscripts and Byzantine scholars who teach language that come to the West. There is no conception that there may be a Byzantine interpretative framework to...
they're missing the whole culture.
Exactly. And it is absolutely true that this is how, I mean, the Italians are receiving the ancient Greek, whatever, philosopher, in its 15th century Byzantine interpretation. That's what they're receiving. But this point is missed. I mean, everybody, not everybody. There's been scholarship on it for a while. We talk about Marsilio Ficino, the first Latin translator of Plato since antiquity, and he's a genius, and how did he do that? Quickly he learned Greek and then translated Plato. And one forgets that the person who's looking behind the shoulder of Marsilio Ficino is John Argyropoulos, who's teaching in Florence at the time. And probably other people too, I can't be sure. But there is a particular, I mean, it's not enough to learn Greek to be able to read Plato. There is a whole history of philosophy that goes into understanding that.
And layers upon layers of commentary.
Exactly, exactly. So that's what I tried to talk against. And then the other element in the talk was that I tried to see, there's this big issue, what do the Ottomans do with Byzantine heritage? There has been a debate among scholars, do they receive anything at all? And there is a sense of wanting to deny it, because if they receive it, then what is original about them? It's a colonial attitude to say they receive things from Byzantium.
So I guess there are two aspects there. There's the kind of Western appropriation again of antiquity, and this time through Byzantium. But then there's, you're saying, there's probably Islamic people working in the East who are pushing back against this idea that they're taking anything from Byzantium as well. So Byzantium is kind of trapped in from both perspectives.
Exactly. And what I tried to show, primarily with two examples, but it could be added on and on and on to, it's a whole book can be written about this, is by trying to show how Greek antiquity was appropriated in its 15th century understanding, and the 15th century understanding of it was much more important to the Ottomans. They weren't looking for ancient stuff, they were looking for Byzantine stuff. So the two examples I brought up is the Greek into Arabic translation of Ptolemy's geography that is done, and we are very well informed about it because Critoboulos Imbrios wrote a narrative, and we know it happened in 1462, in the summer of 1462, and it was done by, he names the Byzantine intellectuals, Amiroudis and his son, and this was always thought to be a moment in the history of the positive sciences, because the geography is a description of how you do a world map with mathematical coordinates.
Right, which again fits, I guess, a narrative about Islam, and Islam being the preservation of antiquity, and the Greek math, it's very scientific.
Exactly. And it is viewed also as part of a triumphalist Islamic narrative that Mehmed the Conqueror is a world conqueror, and that's why he needs a map. I don't think he needs that. I mean, a world map for that. If one looks at how the geography functioned within scientific practice, it functioned as both an astronomical and an astrological instrument. And it could also help calculate world chronology, which is what people writing on apocalyptic need to do. So there is a context in which one can see the translation of the geography not only as servicing the positive sciences, which might have well been doing, but also part of this big Ottoman political project of the 15th and the 16th centuries of political propaganda through the help of divination and apocalypticism. So there's this side to the geography, the translation of the geography into Arabic at the court of Mehmed the Conqueror that I think has been missed. And if one puts together yet another translation project, that of the Chaldean oracles, one begins to understand that this exactly might be the case.
Context you're talking about, particularly the emphasis on divination and the otherworldly, in a way.
So it is a translation of the Chaldean oracles. The Chaldean oracles is a pagan apocalypse of late antiquity. And if one sees how it was used in late antiquity and the Middle Ages, it is usually for the purposes of theurgy, which is when you summon a divinity to do things for you. And the miracles that are attested, that are repeated, okay, they exist in late antique sources, but then they are repeated in the Byzantine tradition of chronicles. So the Byzantines are very well informed about what the Chaldean oracles can do for them. And one of the miracles that one can use the Chaldean oracles for is to bring rain. And of course, in the context of 14th and 15th century Byzantine concerns, the 14th century is the rise of hesychasm in Byzantium. Part of what you do is through a technique of mystical contemplation, to refer to it shortly, you can view the divine.
Right.
So how does this come about? Pletho apparently had an interest in understanding how the Chaldean oracles could be used for this purpose, because theurgy is part of this.
It's when we, again, as classicists, we look at this, we see how the texts and materials that we're interested in get preserved, but what you're talking about is reuse.
Yes,
that's
exactly.
really fascinating.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So Pletho is approaching the Chaldean oracles in the 15th century with awareness that this text can do at least these two things. And the unique manuscript in which we know the Arabic translation does not have the Chaldean oracles alone. It has an introduction by the translator, who doesn't quite like the Chaldean oracles, so he's translating kind of willy-willy. And then there is excerpts from Pletho's Book of Laws that include, it's basically prayers to the planets. And that's again something that we know also in Arabic. It's not prayers to the planets in Pletho, but it's prayers to the ancient gods.
Right.
But the ancient gods
So
can be associated with the planets.
Okay.
And so this is prayers to the planets is what you get in Arabic texts on magic and Hermeticism.
That's interesting.
And so my argument is that Pletho's excerpts and the Chaldean oracles can be viewed as fitting within this pre-existing Islamic framework.
Okay.
That again, the purpose of it is to operate theurgy. So, and then you start thinking, what did Mehmed the Conqueror need at the middle of the 15th century? And you realize first thing that he does when he gets into Constantinople is he repairs the aqueduct. So he has serious concerns about rain. And then, his armies, I don't know how the water provisioning of the army was done, but because of this history, like the Chaldean oracles used for military purposes to bring rain, in one particular example, it saved the Roman army from thirst, and helped them win over the enemy. So that's a useful thing to have in the middle of the 15th century for the Conqueror. So one then can see both the translation of the Chaldean oracles as fitting with the geography together as part of the same project. They're complementary, they don't belong to worlds apart. And one further gains this impression when one looks at the Arabic holdings of the Library of Mehmed the Conqueror that have such texts in Arabic. They have these Hermetic texts, and they also have texts by a well-known philosopher, Persian ethnically, who had huge influence on Ottoman Sufism in the 15th century and later Suhrawardi. So there's choice texts by Suhrawardi in very important manuscripts at the Topkapi Palace. And it seems that these texts were collected by the librarian, Mehmed the Conqueror. We know who this was. His name was Molla Lutfi. And then one begins to realize that Mehmed the Conqueror was doing weird things for a Muslim ruler because he was collecting graven images and antique statuary. And people thought, oh, he's imitating the Renaissance in Italy. That's why he does it. But I think, in fact, he's interested in what kind of magic these things can do.
The power of the image.
Exactly.
Right.
And the ancient statuary had been used by the Byzantines for talismanic purposes. And in fact, we know that Mehmed the Conqueror destroyed the Column at Augusteon because he was afraid of its talismanic. It was good for the Byzantines and bad for him. He destroyed it so that the Byzantines wouldn't be able to retake the city.
Right.
And
it's making the city safe.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then there is this, the Delphic tripod, which he preserved because it has
the
snakes.
Snake
Exactly.
Yes.
And in sympathetic magic, that it can keep snakes away from the city. So he made sure this is well preserved.
And particularly, maybe you were talking about before the associations with, we would call it magic, but there's the otherworldly associations. Of course, this monument has come from Delphi, which has all of this resonance with powers under the earth.
I think the Byzantines understand Delphi. I don't think in their own way. I mean, not the way we do. But I think the Ottomans. I don't think they understand Delphi. I think they see the snakes. And not all Byzantines would understand Delphi. I mean, everything has its own 15th century context. So that's the. So then the further argument is that this introduction of ancient texts in their Byzantine interpretation that happens in the 15th century is in order to fit a Muslim agenda, of course. This is the appropriation that is happening. And you see that the people who were involved in that, like Molla Lutfi, got punished. He was accused for magic and was executed after the death of Mehmed the Conqueror during the reign of Bayezid. And if there's any lesson to draw from that is that it's never comfortable or even safe to explore the other. And then the question is, why do it? And
this is what you're doing.
Yes, I mean I thought, I need a punchline.
And particularly in the contemporary context.
Yes, I thought
what's happening at the minute.
I thought my journey into this material has not been easy and has not been comfortable. It hasn't been unsafe. Nobody wants to execute me for magic. But it takes stepping out of your comfort zone, and this is actually where you learn the most. So I try to understand why I am doing this, and that would mean that others are doing it for the same reason. And then I realized that you don't understand yourself. It's when you, as I said, when you step out of your comfort zone is when you learn that it's in the grey areas, in the twilight zone, that you really have the revelation. So that's why you do it. It's theurgy. You want to invite the revelation.
Well, Maria, thank you so much, and you've certainly brought me out of my comfort zone today, into the grey area for me of Byzantium. But it's been really fascinating talking to you. We really appreciate it, and good luck with it.
Thank you.